Hello friends, my name is Lorcan, my pronouns are he, him, or they, them, and this is my vlog, Bowling and Hop, where we will talk about all the projects that I'm working on, all the things that I'm obsessing over. I am a fiber artist located out of Chicago, and right now it's an exciting time for me. My craft is really been taking off in recent years, and I am decided to officially start sharing my work as I do it, just to see what I can find out. So if you're new here and have never seen anything like this, this is called yarn spinning, and it is the old-timey way of making thread and yarn. It's your great-great-grandparents would have been doing stuff like this. You might be curious, why would anybody do that? Because it is time consuming. It does take a lot of practice to do really well, obviously, but there are a lot of reasons. For me, it's extremely soothing. I'm planning to advance this a little bit because we're getting a little bogged down. I am planning on doing some videos that are a little longer form that are just ASMR. You might notice there's a sort of a whirring clicking sound that is going on. It's just the natural noises that the spinning wheel makes. A lot of people find it very peaceful, like just kind of as ASMR. And I think a little more peace and quiet and calm and tranquility in the world could be a good thing from time to time. So I'm going to do some of that. I'm also just going to talk about my process and things that I'm planning on doing with the fiber that I spin, because it's always going to end up being incorporated into work. And share some of my other artwork as I do it, because of course I have to get my fingers dirty in everything. And also I'm a huge reader, so I'm going to talk about books because I want to. It's my channel and I can do what I want. Anyway, I'm going to put this down for a quick moment. I'll just pause this. We'll talk about our first project, the one that is currently on the spinning wheel. Look really close. This is alpaca, cinnamon alpaca that I am spinning. And it's not only that I'm spinning it, that I'm taking it from its raw state, turning it into roll eggs. This is a very loose one. I need to get a dowel that's smaller because the staple length of this is so short anyway. It works okay for the purposes at hand, but it's not as tidy as I could want it. I'm taking it from this and turning it into this, which will be plied together, and longer term I'm planning on hopefully processing enough alpaca in different natural shades to knit up a sweater that is just done by me from the ground up. You might ask, why would you want to do that, something like that to yourself? Why God, why? This is expensive as shit. When it is turned into yarn all the way and you have to buy enough yarn to make a sweater, this is expensive as shit. Like, I would hesitate to even think how many hundreds of dollars I would have to plunk down to make a sweater's worth. Whereas I got about a pound of this a few years ago and it cost something like $15. So if you're willing to work on it and you're willing to put the sweat into it, you can get some really fine things, beautiful, soft, luxurious fibers. I recognize that is inaccessible to everybody. However, if you know where to look and you're committed to putting in the time, it's a lot less expensive than you might think on the surface of it. So easy question right now. That is why I'm doing this particular project. I also have a lot more control over the yarn itself. I can incorporate different plying techniques that aren't considered commercially viable. And later on, as we move on with this channel, I might do some demonstrations of what that would look like. I don't have any on hand at this exact second. But if you want to do something for like a weaving project, but you have a specific kind of textile in mind that just isn't, you can't find it out there, you could make it yourself. Like it's a thing. Like I have a project that I would like to do in hopefully not too distant future where I spin scrap plastic that I find. It's gonna be so much cleaning. And eventually I'm going to weave it into a sort of a net as a commentary on overconsumption and climate change, things like that. That's something that isn't available on, like, people don't buy that. Like, so nobody's gonna make that. That is something that I would have to make myself. And with the spinning wheel, I have the luxury of being able to do stuff like that. And as a textile artist, that's really exciting for me. Yeah, I always like being able to make my medium exactly the way I have it in my head. It's just, when it all comes together, it's just tasty, delicious. I love it. So yeah, this is going to be on the bobbins for some time. And then I will be returning, hopefully sooner rather than later, to this project. This is another great example of something that would not be commercially viable, where I'm spinning the beads into the yarn, and then I'm going to be able to ply it up and make it really super chunky. You can, of course, apply beads afterwards, but like, you're going to be applying it to really thin yarn, basically. So like, if you want to do a super chunky project, it's not gonna look the same. It's not going to have these really delicate little beads interspersed throughout the twisted singles. You know, it's going to be a big chunky bead on a big chunky piece of yarn. So I didn't want that, and I don't have to have that because I know how to make it myself. I did run out of the red beads. I have to, one of my favorite YouTubers calls it Dr. Daddy Professor Michaels. I have to drop by Dr. Daddy Professor Michaels at some point in time. Vintage Show Pony is his YouTube. If you're looking for it, definitely look it up. It's fan-freaking-tastic. I adore his sense of color and kitsch and style, and it's just 10 out of 10. But yeah, I have to drop by Michael's and pick up some more of those small seed beads, and look for a few others, because I have several colors planned out based off of My Little Pony. It's so exciting. It's gonna be so stinking cute by the time it's done with. And okay, what else am I working on right now? Because it can never just be the one thing. Little update on a knitting project. Another one that is going to be on the needles until hell freezes over, because I do this shit to myself all the time. This right here, this gorgeous baby right here, is going to be a kimono shawl. I decided on the this particular pattern because it looks to me a lot like rippling waves. And I live really close to Lake Michigan, and it reminded me of, you know, kind of Lake Michigan in the winter time. You know, got the night sky, and then the cool blue grays of the lake underneath the starry sky, and it's just like, oh yes, I need to make something out of this that says thank you to Lake Michigan for all she does for us. She is a glorious lady, but glorious ladies demand time, and this is a really time-consuming project, so I'll be talking about it over and over and over again while I knit it. I have 2 3/4, yeah, but the 2 3/4 balls of the yarn to work through before this is completely done. So that tells you I'm going to be knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting. It's not a project for me. It is for a friend, and that's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want them guessing and spoiling the surprise. Projects like this, I like to do for dear friends, and because it just is it's a nice way of saying I love you to the people in your life you care about. At least I feel that way. It's just like, it always, like, they light up when they see projects like this, and I'm like, oh, all it took was 6 months and my carpal tunnel acting up again. But I'm super happy that you're happy too. Again, for the record, I have no idea what's wrong with me. This is, yeah, I do this to myself. I do, and it really hurts. So those are the Fiber Arts projects that I have going right now. I did finish one. I'm really excited about that. It was a sampler. Let me hold it up. I need to trim some of the shag from the back. And I also need to pop it into the washing machine to get rid of some of the markings, the pattern markings, because they wash out. But aside from that, it's done. I finished a damn thing. It's really cute. I don't know what I'm gonna use it for. I might just hang it up somewhere to look at because it's pretty. But I wanted to teach, it's a technique called sashiko mending. It's a Japanese mending technique. And I wanted to teach myself that because I have a jersey knit set of sheets that are about to bite the dust. And I'm personally, in my life, I try to be more handmade and sustainable in my practices. So I don't like to throw things like that, perfectly good textiles that, you know, kind of just have served their purpose in one sense. I don't like to throw them in the trash because, like, you can do stuff with that. So I thought I would turn it into wash rags, and, you know, not a terribly complicated project, but then I saw, I learned about sashiko mending, and I'm like, that actually, you fold it in half, you can make a really sturdy washcloths with it that are also really, really pretty. You might, again, also ask, why would you want to spend that much time on things that you're going to get dirty? And it's just like, well, as an artist, I kind of like to adhere to like the arts and crafts movement in so far as, like, I believe in the virtue of beautifying your own life. Like, I believe in making things that fit your personal aesthetic with your hands. And like this little guy, let me turn him on. Let me turn him on. I'm so proud of him. He's so cute. Little cute. Little cute tea light. Of course, with this particular medium, you can't use real candles, so I got some artificial ones, which honestly are a little bit safer anyway. But I like to make a lot of things for my house by myself. And I like to beautify everything, like not just the stuff that sits on a wall or on a shelf needs to be pretty. It should be everything, because like the efforts that we take to take care of ourselves, they matter. They're worth something. Like there's no such thing as like unskilled labor in the house, like I feel that everybody should celebrate the efforts that they take, and keeping their environment clean and inviting and things like that. It's just a very kind of intimate, tender way of saying, this is my life. I think it's beautiful, and I want to celebrate even the small stuff. That also, and if you hand some people some hand embroidered washcloths, they tend to, like as a gift, like a casual kind of like a housewarming kind of thing. They're like, what do you get this person? Well, you could get a bunch of stuff that's going to go in the trash, or you could make them something that is genuinely useful for, taking care of their household. And, it has your fingerprints, so to speak, all over it. Every time they use it, they'll see that embroidery, and they'll think about the care and the time and the thought you put into, making their world a little bit more colorful and interesting and vibrant. So, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Frogs. So that's why I like to do stuff like that. It fits the ecological bill, and it also fits an aesthetic bill that I think is both are pretty important values for me. All right, so yeah, that is the done project. Let's move on to reading. Reading is it's fundamental. I have a few that I finished this year. Why this is such a big deal for me: I have multiple disabilities. I have ME and also fibromyalgia. The past few years have been really hard where reading is concerned. Like I just haven't had the attention span after work to do much for myself. So I'm finally starting to get to the point in recovery where like work doesn't necessarily completely flatline me. I can do a couple of things after work and maybe even read some for myself. So let's go in order of completion. January was Slashed Beauties by A. Rushby. Yup. And it is largely based on another book called The Anatomical Venus, Wax, God, Death, and the Ecstatic. Let me see. The author is Joanna Ebenstein. And right here. So back in the day, they used to make wax anatomical dolls. So basically, for medical students, getting a hold of cadavers for autopsy and teaching medical students anatomy and physiology was a lot harder and a lot more expensive and a lot more ethically fraught. So to solve the problem that they had on hand, they would make very, very detailed anatomical dolls. And the ick factor, because it's people, it's a freaking ick factor, was that there was an attitude that they had to make these dolls really kind of hot. Otherwise, guys wouldn't want to study medicine. You have to remember, because this is like the heyday of these anatomical Venuses was in the 1700s, rather. So like, yeah, there was still a lot of prejudice against surgery that was considered like a vulgar occupation. so getting upper class gentlemen to study medicine and study surgery as a discipline was really challenging. So they had this attitude that they had to make these wax dolls hot, which is real icky. It's real icky. Anyway, Slash Beauties by A. Reshby kind of explores this phenomena from the perspective of 3 sex workers who disappeared under mysterious circumstances after having modeled as anatomical Venuses, and there's all of these urban legends surrounding them concerning like these anatomical dolls coming to life at night and then assassinating the men who have wronged them. It is slow. It is, well, not slow in a bad way. It's like languorous, like luxurious almost in its pacing. Like it really kind of entrances you and brings you in. I really loved it, but it's very much a slow burn up until some really gnarly twists and turns. A. Reshby also did a lot of reading of the advertisements of this period surrounding brothels. So like it shows from a historical perspective, like she did her work, and it's a great read. And honestly, there's some really, really fun twists to it that you might not expect. I also finished, on a lighter note, a book called Old Fashioned Cupcake and with Cappuccino by Sagan Sagan. This is a BL manga. It features mature adult gentlemen, one of them who's pushing 40, one of them who's pushing 30. It's an office romance. It's very gentle, very soft, very loving and sweet and squishy. And like if you're kind of reeling from the everything that is out there right now and you need something that is just kind of good for your heart for the most part, the Old Fashioned Cupcake with Cappuccino, well, Old Fashioned Cupcake series, it's just 2. Wish it was more, I really do. It's a solid choice, you know. All right, moving on to the work in progress. Oh no, did I lose my bookmark? No, I did, shit. All right, anyway, fuck. Hell is Dark with No Flowers by Yoru Michio. It is a light novel, and there are a bunch in the series. So far, I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you are an anime fan and a fan of the Holic series, this has that kind of vibe to it. It's like Byzantine and haunted and ironic and spooky and fun, and like because it's a light novel, it's not really heavy lifting reading wise. Like I've been pretty mentally fatigued recently with a chronic illness flare up, and I was able to get about a third of the way through it, even during that. So if you're looking for a light read, this is a great one. It is also appropriate. It's rated for ages 16 and up. So like there's so far not really a lot of adult content. It references things, but it doesn't like show it in graphic detail. So knock on wood, it's hopefully keeps going that way. And if you're a younger reader, I don't think it's necessarily an inappropriate book for you to pick up. Just good old-fashioned Japanese horror fun. Love to see it. So that is what's going on and has been going on recently for me. I'm hoping to do more long-form work. I'm going to start practicing taking more shorts and like like actually editing that into something more visually appealing, creating a script, not rambling like a nervous person, you know. But I'm kind of tolerating where I am right now, and where I am right now is just kind of an info dump. So like, I'm glad to see you here. I hope to see you all again sometime. I hope to do some more fun stuff in the future. And please let me know if you'd like to see any other kinds of projects. If you'd like to see, for example, like more of my sculptural work. Cute little mushroom. I just love that guy. Or if you'd like to see, I don't know. I'm blanking out here. If you'd like to see illustration or whatever floats your boat, and you're curious about more book talk, movies, that kind of thing, just shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to think about doing that. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I love you guys. Okay, bye.